development are more transparent, and to allow the controller to have a little bit more pre-approval. Those bills have not moved through. Is that something you think should happen in the next term?
Look, again, these are Republicans who are trying to change the system because they want to get their hands and hand out the money themselves. That's why they're not happy. They want to go back to the old way. But we believe in empowering the local community to make the decisions on where the money is spent.
Okay.
But we also have disclosure. Decisions are approved by the controller. The information is available online. That's disclosure, already working.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
I do a fact
Leave it
check?
there. We're gonna move on. You have a chance for a cross-examination question, so use it how you will. But Lieutenant Governor will let you ask Councilmember Williams a question for the cross-examination.
Sure, I just have a simple question, a yes or no answer is fine. Have you returned the illegal corporate campaign contributions that your campaign took that you said you returned 6 weeks ago?
Thank you for that question. By the way, I just 2 days ago received the findings from the Board of Education. But we didn't wait for those findings.
Board of Elections.
The Board of Elections, I'm sorry. We didn't wait for those findings. We began to return the money immediately. We've made one of 3 payments. We will be making the second this week. We will be in full compliance at the end of this campaign. What is interesting though, after my story came out, other stories of people running for statewide office, including the governor, Andrew Cuomo, made the same error I did. But Lieutenant Governor, as per the past 4 years, has been fully silent on Andrew Cuomo's illegal contribution acceptance. Also, if we want to look at things like finances, the Lieutenant Governor mentioned ExxonMobil. If you look at the finances, tens of thousands of investments in things like ExxonMobil, Philip Morris, that's harming Black and brown communities. You see the ads all over. JP Morgan Chase, that has fueled the foreclosure crisis.
I'm gonna stop you there. You've gone well beyond answering her question directly, but that's okay. I'll give you a few seconds to respond.
No, and I think the difference is that, you know, for someone who's been an elected official for 10 years, to claim not having knowledge of the proper way to file out disclosure, politicians for 10 years ought to know better. They can't claim that they didn't understand the rules. And so I believe in transparency, full disclosure. Why I thought it should not have been so difficult to have taxes released, so we can know what deductions you're taking if people want to raise questions about whether or not they're appropriate. I believe when you run for office, you are held to the highest of standards. And disclosure is something I've called for, transparency. Even when I was running against Chris Collins, as a member of Congress, I said, show us your taxes, tell us about your financial dealings, and look where he is today. So it's something I've always asked for, and I think that all of us should be welcoming the opportunity. And yes, people talk about my finances because I've disclosed them. I didn't have to be pulled to this kicking and screaming. I did it willingly. I've done it for 10 straight years. It should be part of the process without resistance.
Okay, and Councilmember Williams, we're gonna move to your question.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't resistance. I just wanted to have a debate, one that was fused. After the debate was set, I actually did release it. But all the things about transparency, for some reason you don't ask the same questions to Andrew Cuomo, who
Please
made
ask
the
your
same
question.
errors.
Please ask your question.
But I do want to say thank you for joining.